Christmas in the United States is an explosion of twinkling lights, holiday feasts, and endless traditions. But did you know? The way Americans celebrate Christmas might surprise you. So, grab some hot cocoa, get cozy, and let's dive into 101 fascinating facts about Christmas in the USA. 1. The Christmas season in the US isn't just a day. Oh no. For many, it begins right after Thanksgiving, with Black Friday marking the unofficial start of holiday shopping mania. 2. Speaking of shopping, Americans spend over $700 billion during the holiday season. That's more than the GDP of some countries. What's the most you've ever spent on Christmas gifts? Comment below. Fact 3. US families use an average of 15,000 Christmas lights on their houses. And some neighborhoods take this to a whole new level by coordinating entire light shows set to music. 4. In fact, the Guinness World Record for the most lights on a home goes to a family in New York, with over 600,000 lights. Imagine that electric bill. 5. Here's an interesting one. Santa Claus was actually reimagined by Coca-Cola in the 1930s, giving him his jolly, red-suited look that we know today. Thanks, Coke. 6. And Santa isn't just limited to the North Pole. In some southern US states, Santa arrives by surfboard. Yes, you heard that right. Ever picture Santa in board shorts? 7. Some towns even host Christmas in July events, especially in warmer places where winter feels more like summer anyway. Who says you need snow for a festive vibe? 8. Americans don't just bake cookies for Santa, they go all out. In some regions, Christmas baking competitions are a serious tradition, with entire communities getting involved. 9. Ever heard of the elf on the shelf? It's a relatively new tradition where a little elf doll watches children's behavior for Santa. And every morning, the elf is moved to a different spot, creating endless mischief. 10. Fun fact, an estimated 80 million American households have an elf on the shelf. And yes, parents are the real elves behind the scenes. 11. Here's something unique. In Arizona, people celebrate Christmas by lighting luminarias, small paper lanterns filled with sand and candles. It's a beautiful sight. 12. And in New Mexico, another southwestern tradition called Las Posadas reenacts Mary and Joseph's search for shelter. This custom dates back centuries and is celebrated in many Hispanic communities. 13. Christmas cards are a huge deal here. Americans send over 1.3 billion holiday cards each year. Talk about spreading cheer through the mail. 14. Believe it or not, there's a town called Santa Claus in Indiana, where the entire town embraces the Christmas spirit all year round. Santa-themed street names, buildings, and even a post office dedicated to answering kids' letters to Santa. 15. Christmas tree farms are big business in the US, especially in states like Oregon and North Carolina, which produce the majority of real trees sold nationwide. 16. On average, Americans will spend over $80 on a Christmas tree. And while many go for a real tree, about 80% actually choose an artificial one. 17. Speaking of trees, Rockefeller Center in New York has one of the most famous Christmas trees in the world. Each year, it attracts over 125 million visitors. 18. Another unique twist. Some cities host ugly sweater parties where guests try to outdo each other with the funniest, quirkiest holiday sweaters they can find. 19. Ever wonder why we hang stockings? It's believed to stem from an old tale where St. Nicholas saved 3 sisters from poverty by dropping coins down their chimney, which landed in stockings left to dry. 20. American stockings are often filled with candy canes and small gifts. In some homes, you might even find a pickle ornament tucked inside. Yes, the Christmas pickle. It's a quirky American tradition. Fact 21. Christmas Eve traditions vary widely across the US. Some people open one gift early, while others save all presents for Christmas morning. Which camp are you in? 22. And speaking of gifts, the concept of Secret Santa originated in the US. It's now spread worldwide, helping friends, family, and coworkers give presents without breaking the bank. 23rd. Americans take Christmas movies very seriously. Films like It's a Wonderful Life, Home Alone, and A Christmas Story are practically required viewing. 24. Fun fact, A Christmas Story was so popular that the house from the movie in Cleveland, Ohio, was turned into a museum. 25. The Home Alone house. It's still a fan favorite, and every year tourists flock to Winnetka, Illinois, just to see it. And maybe make sure the doors are locked. 26. Here's one you might not expect. Kentucky Fried Chicken has become a Christmas dinner staple in Japan, thanks to an American KFC marketing campaign. The idea caught on, and now it's a yearly tradition. 27. Back in the US, holiday ham is more traditional, although in the South, deep-fried turkey is increasingly popular. 28. Christmas parades are held in many cities, but one of the most famous is the Hollywood Christmas Parade. Held in Los Angeles, it draws thousands of spectators and celebrities each year. 29th. Radio stations across the US begin playing Christmas music as early as November 1st. Have you ever heard Jingle Bells on repeat for 2 whole months? 30. White Christmas by Bing Crosby holds the record as the best-selling Christmas song of all time in the US. It's even been credited with popularizing the whole White Christmas dream. 31st. Americans don't just limit Christmas celebrations to the streets and living rooms. In Honolulu, Hawaii, you can even attend a Christmas boat parade, where boats are decked out in lights and decorations. 32. Some Americans are so dedicated to Christmas decorating that they set up not just one, but multiple Christmas trees, one for each room. Now that's some serious holiday spirit. 33rd. Ever heard of Christmas caroling with a twist? In some towns, groups go door-to-door singing off-key or parody versions of classic carols. It's called anti-caroling, and it's all for laughs. 34. Some families don't wait for Christmas morning to unwrap their presents. Instead, they'll wake up at midnight just as the clock strikes 12 and dive in right away. 35. You've probably heard of ugly Christmas sweater parties, but in San Francisco, they've taken it up a notch with an entire SantaCon. It's basically thousands of people dressed as Santa roaming the city. Total chaos and holiday fun. 36. Americans love to bake cookies for Santa, but do you know why we leave out milk too? It's a tradition that started in the Great Depression as a gesture of gratitude for what families still had, even during hard times. 37. The United States has some unique seasonal flavors, like pumpkin spice, peppermint, and eggnog. Some coffee shops even introduce Christmas-themed drinks as early as September. 38. A bit random, but there are actual Christmas museums in the US, like the National Christmas Center in Pennsylvania. Visitors can explore the history of Christmas traditions from around the world. 39. The iconic red and green color scheme we associate with Christmas? It became widely popular thanks to Christmas cards and marketing in the Victorian era, although initially, early holiday colors included blue and white. 40. Many American kids write letters to Santa, and the U.S. Postal Service has a Letters to Santa program that lets people adopt and respond to these letters. 41st. Not everyone celebrates Christmas in snowy weather. In Florida, it's common to celebrate Christmas on the beach, with sandcastles instead of snowmen. 42. Did you know you can actually rent a live Christmas tree in some U.S. cities? You keep it indoors during the holiday season, and after Christmas, it's replanted. Eco-friendly and festive. 43. The idea of hanging mistletoe traces back to Norse mythology, where it symbolized love and peace. But in the U.S., it's just a reason to sneak a holiday kiss. 44. Malls across America often bring in a real Santa for kids to visit, but there are over 100 different Santa schools in the U.S. to help Santas perfect their craft. Ho, 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 45. In Louisiana, there's a tradition of building massive bonfires along the Mississippi River to light the way for Papa Noel, their version of Santa Claus. 46. Advent calendars have become so popular in the U.S. that now they're not just for kids, there are versions for adults, filled with things like chocolates, wine, and even mini beauty products. 47. While most kids leave out cookies for Santa, children in the American South might also leave him pecan pie. Hey, Santa deserves a little variety too, right? 48. In some parts of Texas, a cowboy Christmas is a thing. Folks will swap out traditional Santa outfits for cowboy hats and boots. 49. In the Midwest, there is something called a 12 Days of Christmas scavenger hunt, where people find small gifts or clues related to the famous song. Who wouldn't love a good hunt with prizes? 50. Americans consume about 1.76 billion candy canes each Christmas season. That's enough candy canes to wrap around the world. Twice. 51. Poinsettias are a classic Christmas decoration, and they actually come from Mexico. An American ambassador brought them back in the 1800s, and they've been part of U.S. Christmas ever since. 52nd. Gingerbread houses became popular in the U.S. after German immigrants brought the tradition. Today, we even have gingerbread house competitions with some pretty wild designs. 53. In some American households, the Christmas tree isn't taken down until the first week of January, as many follow the 12 Days of Christmas tradition. Fact 54. American holiday TV specials are a tradition in themselves. Shows like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer and A Charlie Brown Christmas have been airing for decades. 55. In the early 1900s, Christmas was almost banned in the U.S. as it was considered too rowdy. Thankfully, it transformed into the family-friendly celebration we know today. 56. Many Americans set up a Christmas village display with miniature houses, trees, and people. Some of these villages can be incredibly elaborate with hundreds of tiny pieces. 57. Americans send more text messages and emails wishing Merry Christmas than any other holiday greeting. Who else loves that little extra digital holiday cheer? 58. Secret Santa isn't the only gift-giving game Americans play. There's also White Elephant, where people exchange funny or impractical gifts, often leading to lots of laughs. 59. In Washington, D.C., you can see the national Christmas tree lit up in front of the White House each year. Presidents have participated in this tradition since 1923. 60. In Utah, there's a tradition known as the Sub for Santa program, where families adopt those in need and provide gifts and meals for their Christmas celebration. 61. Americans make gingerbread men cookies, but in some places you'll also see gingerbread snowflakes, trees, and even Christmas stars. 62. Some U.S. cities have Christmas markets inspired by German traditions, where you can shop for handmade gifts, drink hot cider, and eat traditional treats. 63. Peppermint is one of the most iconic flavors of Christmas in the U.S. Did you know that Americans buy enough peppermint-flavored candy each season to cover the Lincoln Memorial 7 times over? 64. In California, there's a city named Christmas. During December, all the street signs, buildings, and even the mayor get into the holiday spirit. 65. Ice skating is a popular American Christmas activity, with outdoor rinks popping up in cities and even shopping malls. 66. Some Americans start their Christmas shopping as early as August to avoid the holiday rush. Are you an early shopper or a last-minute marathoner? 67. For many in the southern U.S., decorating a palm tree is just as traditional as putting up a pine tree. It's all about adding some tropical vibes to Christmas. 68th. Americans love holiday-themed pajamas and will often buy matching sets for the entire family. Christmas morning is a cozy scene of coordinated flannel. 69. The concept of the Christmas bonus for employees gained popularity in the 20th century in the U.S. Some employers now even hold Christmas parties with raffles, games, and gifts. 70. In some areas, Americans leave Christmas lights up all winter long. Why not keep the festive cheer a bit longer? 71. If you visit the U.S. Capitol in Washington, D.C. during Christmas, you'll find a giant Christmas tree on display called the People's Tree. This tree is decorated by volunteers from all over the country. 72. Americans have a long-standing tradition of volunteering during Christmas. Soup kitchens, shelters, and community centers are packed with people lending a hand and spreading holiday cheer. 73. Not all American states see snow during Christmas, but that doesn't stop snow parties from happening in warmer places. Artificial snow is brought in so people in places like Arizona and Florida can enjoy a white Christmas, even if it's a little less chilly. 74. Each year, the town of North Pole, Alaska, fully transforms into a Christmas village where people from all over the world send their holiday cards to get the iconic North Pole postmark. 75. Christmas wreaths are hugely popular in the US, and each has a symbolic meaning. For many, the circular shape represents eternal life, while the evergreens symbolize resilience through winter. 76. Did you know Americans will often decorate their cars too? It's not unusual to see a minivan with reindeer antlers and a red nose. 77. A relatively new tradition in some US cities is the Christmas crawl, where friends dress up in holiday outfits and visit various pubs or bars, spreading holiday cheer one stop at a time. 78. Some Americans take holiday baking to the extreme with cookie swaps. Friends and family members each bake a different type of cookie and then trade, leaving everyone with a huge variety of treats. 79. In Portland, Oregon, you can attend a Portland Christmas Ships Parade. Boats decorated with Christmas lights cruise down the river each December, putting on a show for thousands of spectators. 80. Here's a fun one. Ever heard of snowman kits? In states with snow, families buy kits with carrot noses, top hats, scarves, and everything you'd need to build a perfect snowman. 81st. Americans have some unique holiday fragrances too. Aside from pine and cinnamon, there are scents like fresh snowfall and sugar cookie that fill the shelves. 82. In the US, there's a tradition of adopting a family in need during Christmas. Organizations match generous donors with families to help provide gifts, food, and sometimes even rent assistance. Fact 83. Christmas karaoke parties are a thing. Many people love belting out holiday classics like All I Want for Christmas Is You and Jingle Bell Rock, whether or not they can sing on key. 84. Candy canes aren't just for snacking. Americans often hang them on their trees as ornaments, and once Christmas is over, they double as an easy snack. 85. Did you know the first electrically lit Christmas tree was in New York City in 1882? Thomas Edison's assistant, Edward Johnson, came up with the idea and decorated his tree with colored bulbs. 86. Some American families add a Santa key to their decorations, especially if they don't have a chimney. It's a special key that only Santa can use to get inside. 87. In Michigan, there's a town called Frankenmuth, known as Michigan's Little Bavaria. It's home to Bronner's Christmas Wonderland, the largest Christmas store in the world. 88. In the US, there's a tradition called the Christmas Light Fight, where neighbors compete to see who has the best decorated house. It can get pretty competitive, and electric bills can get pretty high. 89. You've heard of the 12 Days of Christmas, but in parts of New England, there's a version called the 12 Pubs of Christmas. Each pub represents a day, and friends aim to visit all 12 in one night. 90. In some US cities, you'll find life-size gingerbread houses, especially in big hotels and shopping malls. Some are made with real gingerbread icing and candy. 91. Letters to Santa have become a big deal in American classrooms. Kids write letters as a class project, and teachers sometimes surprise them with replies from Santa's helpers. 92. Here's an unusual tradition. In some American towns, people will chalk the door after Christmas by writing a special blessing on their front door to bring good luck in the new year. 93. Some American cities like Seattle are famous for their Christmas trolley rides, where you can see Christmas lights while cozying up in an old-fashioned trolley. 94. Americans love unique tree toppers. Besides the classic star or angel, you'll see everything from owls to snowmen perched on top of trees. 95. In Philadelphia, there's a long-standing Christmas tradition of mummers parades. People wear elaborate costumes and perform in public, dating back over a century. 96. Christmas gift wrapping has turned into an art form. Americans will often hold wrapping parties where friends gather to wrap gifts, complete with ribbons, bows, and maybe even a little bit of glitter. 97. One of the oldest Christmas traditions in the US is the Moravian star, a multi-pointed star that originally came from Germany and symbolizes hope. 98. In some parts of the US, there's a quirky tradition of giving out joke gifts in addition to regular presents. These gifts are meant for laughs and often include goofy items or gag gifts. 99. Americans sometimes send holiday e-cards instead of traditional cards, especially if friends and family live far away. Some of these e-cards are animated and even play music. 100. Some American households have a Christmas countdown clock that counts down the days, hours, minutes, and even seconds until Christmas, as if we weren't already excited enough. 101. And here's an amazing fact to finish up. Each year, American families track Santa's journey around the world using NORAD's Santa Tracker. This tradition started by accident in 1955 when a child called NORAD's number by mistake. And now, over 1,500 volunteers help kids everywhere follow Santa's magical flight. And that wraps up our list of 101 incredible facts about Christmas in the USA. Which one was your favorite? Let us know in the comments, hit the like button, and don't forget to subscribe for more fun holiday content.